Dubai's property market is booming. So does that mean it's too expensive, or can you still pick up some solid deals? If you've been researching it yourself, you've probably seen a mix of outdated listings, vague advice, and wildly different price points from different agents. It's confusing, and for most investors, it's completely overwhelming. The truth is, there is a structure to this market, but you need to know where the key thresholds are and which budgets unlock the real investment grade opportunities. So in this video, I'll break down the real entry point for Dubai's property investments in 2025 and exactly what each budget level gets you. First of all, I want you to think of Dubai's property market like a 5-step ladder. At the bottom, you've got the entry point, the first property that gets your foot in the door. And as you climb the ladder higher, the views get better, the quality improves, and of course, the price tags increase. But not every step on the ladder is created equal. Sometimes products offer better cash flow, others are better for flipping. But these are the things that you'll start to learn once you start exploring the market. And that's why it's so important to understand what each level of the market can offer. So before we climb this ladder together, let's talk about what it takes to get into the property market. If you're looking to invest in a property in Dubai, you'll need at least $300,000 or around 1 million dirhams. It's the threshold where the market starts offering properties with real potential, both in terms of somewhat of stability and long-term growth. Below this point, you're kind of dealing with properties that won't really perform well as investments. They might do, but the chances can be pretty low. So now let's look at the bottom end of the ladder. A budget between $300,000 and say $400,000, which is roughly 1 to 1.5 million dirhams. When you're investing at this level, you've got to be realistic about what you're getting. This is what I would say the lower end of the market, but it can still work if you're focused on the right metrics. At this budget, most investors are aiming for cash flow, not huge appreciation. So you'll be looking at areas that are well established, but maybe not the flashiest or the most prestigious. This budget puts you in communities that are already developed, have decent infrastructure in place, and importantly, they're stable enough to generate consistent rental returns. One important thing to note about the price range in this level is that you might be tempted to look for studios, especially if you're on the lower end of $300,000 or 1 million dirhams. But from my experience, studios generally don't work super well for appreciation, they work better for cash flow. So with this budget in mind, 1 to 1.5 million dirhams, to invest in Dubai, you're looking at entry-level luxury apartments, potentially, but in areas like JVC, Arjan, Sports City, Motor City, or even in Dubai Land, and maybe studios in Business Bay. Now, there is a different approach that you can take with this budget. You can look at upcoming areas within the Dubai Land district, but as I say in all my videos, I do warn this can be risky, especially if you're working with no-name or newer developers. The good news is that we are seeing quality developers like Ellington and Imtiaz launching projects in some of these upcoming areas, which does offer some security. Just keep in mind that going into this route is definitely more of a long-term play, and you'll need patience as these areas need time to develop. Now, moving up the ladder, our second tier covers $500,000 to $1 million. So we're talking now about 1.8 million dirhams to around 3.6 million dirhams. This is where the Dubai property market starts to open up a bit more, but you still need to be smart. At this level, you've basically got, I would say, two options. The first is I would call a safe and steady route. So this is perfect for investors who want something recession-proof and reliable. Now, this is where you're buying into premium master communities that are already very well established from big name developers. Now, these areas don't typically offer huge upside. You know, they're not going to triple in value overnight because, well, they're already developed and they're priced accordingly. But what they do offer is stability, resilience, and a proven rental market. These are the types of places that tend to hold up well even during economic dips. So now the second approach is for the more ambitious investor. If you're willing to take a bit more of a risk for a potentially higher return, you can look at underdeveloped upcoming locations that do offer more for your money right now. Now, of course, within this strategy, you are betting on these areas to develop and significantly grow in the future. It's a longer term play with a higher upside potential, but also a bit more uncertainty. So in essence, if you've got between 1.8 and 3.6 million dirhams to invest in Dubai, you can start looking at communities that are well established, such as Dubai Creek Harbour, Dubai Hills, Dubai Downtown, and potentially even one beds in semi-branded residences, maybe in the marina and other parts of downtown, or even on the outskirts of the Palm Jumeirah. We just need to look at that budget and analyze what's available at the time. If you are closer to the $1 million mark, or even the 3.6 million dirham mark, you can look at units like premium 2 beds in the locations I did say, in the stable communities with higher floors, more exclusive views, better amenities, and there may also be a chance to get into the townhouse market if a launch becomes available. So even though you're not in the luxury villa territory yet, this tier still gives access to higher quality developments in high demanded areas, which can be great for both capital growth and rental yields, depending on the specific project. Now, the more underdeveloped communities that I was talking about are Dubai Islands, Maritime City, Mina Rashid. Personally, I'm very wildly optimistic about them. You hear me talk about them in all my videos, and I don't necessarily class these as the more riskier ones. The more riskier ones, I would say, are areas like Ras Al Khaimah or different Emirates, which have not really got a proven track record yet. They may offer some huge upside in the future, but we are betting on a lot of different factors for these areas to really go up in value. Now, let's move into our third tier, the $1 million to $2 million mark. So let's say 3.6 to 7 million dirhams. At this point, things actually get easier because now the market isn't as crowded. Now, when you're playing in this league, you're not comparing dozens of apartments that look the same. Each property at different tiers tend to have a bit more of distinct characteristics and advantages. This is where you can start looking at two main types of investments. The first is premium townhouses or small standalone villas if we're on the higher end of this budget. And we can be looking at master planned communities by Amar, Miras, Nakheel, Aldar. Now, these are great if you're looking for more space, more privacy, and a long-term living setup that also works well for flipping and rentals. Now, the second option is high-end 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom apartments in some of Dubai's most desirable locations, such as central downtown or waterfront communities, and you may get an entry into places like the Al Wasl Canal in Jumeirah, and again, more premium units in places like Maritime City, Dubai Islands, and Mina Rashid. So in this tier, you're not just buying square footage, you're buying solid properties in established communities, better locations, and properties with real livability and investment appeal. Now, I've noticed that a lot of investors at this level and above are particularly interested in off-plan opportunities. And that makes sense. Off-plan can offer better entry prices, payment plans that work with the cash flow, and potential for significant appreciation before you even complete the purchase. So if you are interested in learning about what you can get for 7 million dirhams in Dubai's property market, you can join our WhatsApp group where I'll share exclusive off-plan opportunities the moment they become available. You can check the link in the description to join. So now we're ready to step it up a tier. We're talking $2 to $5 million, which is around 7 to 18 million dirhams. Now at this level, we're basically entering what I call the almost ultra luxury category. You're not quite at the top yet, but you're definitely starting to operate in a market that's definitely on the more premium side of things. And this is where Dubai's luxury real estate really starts to show off. With this kind of budget, the quality of what you can access changes dramatically. For example, if you're looking at branded residences in the previous tier, maybe you could have got a 1-bed, but now you're getting the more premium units on the better floors, and you're looking at maybe 2 or 3 bedrooms. Units with larger floor plans, uninterrupted views in buildings, and potentially even in places like the Four Seasons or names like Omniat. The list goes on. And I'm talking real high-end serviced residences. This is where your options also expand into the real luxury villas. Now we're talking about standalone villas with possibly 6 to 10,000 square foot in these premium upcoming communities from names like Imar in the Oasis, Acres by Miras, and so on. Overall, this budget opens the door to high-end communities from the big players in the market. Now, these are serious villas with top-spec finishes, smart homes, tech, architectural designs, and a level of privacy that's kind of hard to find lower down the ladder. So tier 4 is where Dubai starts to look a little bit more like premium, luxury living, global brands, and highly sought after locations. Finally, we're talking about the 5th and final tier, $5 million above. Now this can keep going and going and going all the way up to 10, 20, 50, 100, $200 million. But once you cross this threshold, you're officially entering the ultra luxury segment of the Dubai market. And at this point, the world really is your oyster. Properties with this, you are looking literally at uninterrupted views, the best penthouses, direct private beach access, and architecture like you've never seen before. You can be buying into branded residences where you can literally get the ocean-facing properties complete with world-class services, hotel-style amenities, and so forth. And if you are approaching this from pure investment angle, then there is another route. You can be buying floors in buildings when projects launch from top-tier developers like Imar or Shoba, where they'll offer you the entire floor. Could be 10 apartments on the 36th floor in a luxury tower, which is giving you the flexibility in terms of rentals and resales because, well, the floor is yours. So if you're working in this budget in 2025, you're in a position to buy some of the most exclusive and premium properties in the market. And these aren't just high-end homes. They're the pinnacle of Dubai's real estate, designed for those who want the best and are willing to pay for it. And typically, this would be the exact type of client who benefits the most from a personalized investment strategy. So if you are seriously considering investing at this level, then you will need the guidance. So if you are interested in a tailored strategy, so feel free to go through the call, book a call with one of my team, and we can see how we can help. So now you know exactly what your money can buy you in 2025 in Dubai's property market. But if you're not careful, even in a decent budget, you can land in the wrong project or the wrong area. So you want to avoid the biggest traps I see investors fall into. Check out this video next where I break down the worst properties to buy in 2025.